What up? What's up, everybody? Just chilling. Sunday. How's everybody doing? So, I started rearranging everything. I don't know if you guys can notice the background. We got the rack. Picked that up today. Went to Home Depot with my daughter. Picked one up. Started setting up some model kits, and then started kind of just moving things around, setting up some boards, things that I've painted and stuff. And little by little, it's gonna start to fill up back there. Uh, just trying to make it a little bit better than what it was before, and also rearranging the some of the lighting and the cameras and stuff like that. So as I was doing that, I spent some hours. I got a little burned out, not gonna lie. And then as I was pulling out kits, I was like, oh man, there's some projects here that at some point I started working on them back then, and I just kind of stopped. I stalled on them, right? I put them away and stuff, and now they're here. So I wanted to share with you guys a couple of kits that I have right in front of me. The first one we're going to look at right here. This is the 1947 Chevy Fleetline. Let's check this out right here. So this kit right here I got from Pegasus Hobbies. It's been some years. Went down there with a couple friends, and this was one of the ones. During this time, it was pretty hot. These ones were about $45-50 at the time, and these were produced by Galaxy Limited. I want to say during that time period when I picked this up, this was already Galaxy. I don't think they were producing them anymore. I want to say, because I remember them telling us, make sure you grab them because there ain't going to be any more. So this is one of the kits here. Let's open it up. Let's check it out. Let's look through it, because this is one that I planned on working on back then, and I never got around to. I did end up doing some type of chop on the roof, but let's see here. So, all right, let's look at the decals, because dude, these look pretty sick. I put them in this plastic cover here just because I don't want them to get damaged. They're really nice. You even see some flames, some really nice pinstriping, and just some good selection of license plates right here, California and other states, and then also all the sponsoring stickers and like that. It's really cool, man. In all these patterns too that you can lay out on there on this build. So moon eyes. So I made sure, what, I better take care of this sheet, because I definitely don't want this getting damaged. Right there, the instructions, Galaxy. And this was cool because more of a booklet type style, as you can see here. A lot of information. It might look intimidating for someone who's starting off, but after a while you start going on, you really like to see how everything's dissected and kind of put together right there. And then there we see the waterside decals as well, and then some information tips for personalizing your model right there. That's pretty cool. All right, so as you see the body here, that's the first thing that's it's been primered. There's even tape right here, I'm assuming for a skirt. Let's see if we can find that. Oh, here we are. Oh yes, so during this time, I remember, now this is bringing back some memories. This is just styrene right here. I was cutting out my own shape. It's just flat styrene. And I believe this one went on this side. So here, let's go ahead and let's try to recreate this mock-up right here real quick. So this is the old tape that's been in this box. Let's see here. Let's try to line this up for the time being. There we go. This is the I guess the look I was trying to achieve, almost like a teardrop. It looks kind of wild, but yeah. Let's see the inside. Oh, it's taped up, but I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. That's what I was kind of going for on this. And let's see if I find the other part to it. Nah, we'll come across it. But anyway, so that's the skirt there. Hey, let's get a little bit closer on here. Let's remove that now, and let's remove these tapes. And then as far as the trunk, I ended up cutting that out as well. And during this period, I feel like I wasn't using the correct scribers to cut open a trunk and all that. So I'm pretty sure I got really wide, along the trim, because I even had to add styrene there. Look at that. And it looks like there's still chunks that are missing that I need to be adding styrene to right there. So that's something that's going to come forward later. So let's remove the trunk here. It's all taped up for the mock-up. Let's see, let me get there we go. And then let's look at the chop here. So the roof is lowered, and I try to smooth this out right here, almost like I try to flatten that back window right there. These were my first attempts at learning how to chop a roof. I used to see people's cars and they would tell me, oh, I did a mild chop or this or that, and I had no idea what they were talking about. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna chop the roof and drop it and then just smoothing it out and all that stuff, right? Let's look at the bottom. In the bottom, you could see the glue on there that I ended up putting. I never got around really to smooth this out, but that's obviously going to be like a future project right there. But as I started to move forward, that's when I started to really learn more about the chopping and even like sectioning and all that stuff. But in the beginning, I didn't even know what was going on. I wasn't really asking anybody like, hey, how do you chop a roof? I just kind of was eyeballing it thinking, oh, this is the way it's done. But then with other vehicles, I started to really see like, no, it's not always like that. It doesn't always really happen like that. Here, let's see a side profile of it right there. Look at that. Big and bulky in the front, big, like a big nose almost, and then back here it just starts to slim down. And then I was going to try, I guess, to do those kind of skirts on that build right there. Here we have the glass. It's still in the bag. I never even took it out. Wheels, well, the tires are still in the bag, original baggy Galaxy. Didn't remove those. And then here we have the interior, somewhat of a, I guess, a mock-up here, because it's not glued. There's tape in there at the bottom. So there's that. And then these are just all the interior pieces that we have here. Check that out right there. On the bottom chassis, the white walls. These are possibly the rear tail lights there. And then what also always fascinated me was the chrome trim, because look at this. It's like such a huge sheet, and it's still sealed. Never opened it. Right there. Just a lot of chrome pieces, looking really nice, very shiny. And then obviously we saw the trunk already, and oh yeah, then there's a visor for it. I might have wanted to cut it too. It looks like the way I marked it, like the shape. But you know what? I have a feeling, I don't think this visor belongs to this car. I could be wrong, but I almost feel like, oh no, it does come with the visor. I know that has this one here, but this is a lot bigger. It makes me think, I don't know if maybe this is from a different kit. Maybe the Revell, what is it? The Revell, the wagon. It might be from the wagon right there. But this is a big piece. Right here is what I'm kind of getting at right there. Let me see what else. These are the oh, here we go. I found the other skirt. So I have the two skirts, kind of like a teardrop, what I was trying to go for right there. Then I found the original skirts. The original skirts are just round, covering the wheel wells or whatever right there. Look at them right here. Wonder how close or off I was. It's somewhat close. Somewhat. There we go. Yeah, I think I must have traced. I must have put it like this and traced the skirt and then just added a little bit more long kind of flare right there, right? But obviously this is a lot thicker. This is thin. And now I'd probably maybe cut like maybe like a 2 millimeter one just to give it a little bit of thickness, not too much. A little bit of thickness. Thickness would be good. And man, this is just a lot of loose parts all from the kit. I don't know. I rarely do this kind of stuff where I just kind of take everything apart and start, messing around. Like this, I like to leave stuff in the trees and still until I'm gonna start, cutting it out and kind of moving from there. That's kind of the way I do it. But I don't know, for that reason I must have not. I must have just been, jumping ahead thinking, oh, all right, cool. I'm gonna end up, just going for it right there. Let's see here. So I'm gonna put these back in the box for now. A lot of cool things though with this kit, brings back some memories right there. Let me put these at the bottom actually, because we got to protect this chrome. That's for sure. This is like a really nice sheet of chrome right here. And a lot of these items too, if you don't use all of them, you could definitely use them for more stuff. I believe the steering wheel, I think I grabbed one of these and used it on my Hudson Hornet as well, my wagon. So there's some neat stuff in here that you could definitely be grabbing right there. Oh man, see this? Look at this tape. It's already all stuck to me. All right, let's get the tape out. Yeah, it's time to toss out this tape actually. It's been here for some years and I'm not gonna use it anymore. It holds up good, but it doesn't feel as sticky as it normally does, So yeah, I'm gonna put that one, set that one aside. So this was the 47 Chevy Fleetmaster Coupe. And pretty cool box artwork right here. You got that side view right there. And then right here, this is what grabs you, when you see these, you're like, wow, like you could even make this into like a police vehicle. It almost looks like a detective kind of vehicle right there. And look at that, really nice custom. That style reminds me of like Watson style right there. Yeah, this is really cool. And then obviously right here, man, the racing part right there, that's pretty dope. So we're gonna set this one aside. This was another one I dug up as well. This is the 65 Chevy Impala. This is one where I feel like I was trying something that was way ahead of my time. I did not have the skills for it or nothing. I was envisioning like, all right, cool. I think what I'm gonna do is do a radical 65, and I didn't even know how to custom paint. I don't even think I even had an airbrush or anything like that. I was still doing rattle cans, and I felt like, all right, cool. This is the model that is gonna help me like kind of jump into the next. Look at it. It's all in pieces right here. Let's take a look. So let's see here. So during this time, I had cut up this 65. Thinking, oh well, I'm gonna do like a version of like a local 64, but in a 65 Impala, not in a 64 Impala. These are the doors right here, and I hinged the back, the doors, and even the front. I was doing all these things to it. You can still see some of the tubing right in there, and I even, shaved out like the emblems. I was going to just smooth this out, right? And this was going to be a convertible too. So it was going to be a convertible radical. Here's the front part. Shaved everything right here as well. Here, let me scoot this back. And then these were some of the other pieces I just kind of taped to hold, but This piece went here as well. You know, and now, you know, at the time I was like doing this, but now if I'd work on this now, I'd smoothen all this out now. Like that would probably be a piece that would already be attached to here, and just seal it up, and just be able to open up the hood. But I would definitely glue this piece now, right here, to that front clip. Let's see here, and then the fenders, I ended up. So the fenders. So here's the frame, right? Here's the bottom of the frame, and in this frame, right up here, when you turn it around, I ended up adding tubing, right there, that you see, and then I applied glue or putty, I want to say, and then I just kind of molded it in a little bit right there, and this is where the wiring was going in that was hinged to this, that would help me basically flip this open, and I could just do it. But regarding the hinging, at the time I wasn't using the correct wiring. I was using like soft metal that was sold at Hobby Lobby at the time, because at that time I didn't know anybody. You know, this is before I met Armando Flores, before I met any of the guys from Down to Scale, any MCBA, anybody affiliated with any model car club. I didn't know anybody during this time. You know, Instagram was there wasn't really anybody on Instagram that was building models. You know, back in like 2015 or like 2014, 15. There was no hashtags, there was no reels, there was none of that stuff. So once you found someone, you know, you'd follow them, and you know, I guess through the friends list or something, that's the only way you would find more people. So here, let me set this one here. But when I cut these out, because these, I believe these were, what? I think they were attached to this. Okay, this is what I was gonna talk about. So I believe they were attached here. This is how they were, and I cut them out. And I guess my initial plan was that I was gonna probably either custom paint these or get them chrome plated or something. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm trying to go back and try to remember. And then this was gonna be the rag top. Obviously, at the time, I think I was gonna attach it like this, you know, and having everything all radicaled out. But then now with 3D printing and stuff, it would be kind of crazy if it was like open or something, right? A convertible, like radical. Hey, what's up, Ronnie? How you doing, man? Nice. Thank you for tuning in, bro. Hell yeah. And then check it out. These are like some OG wheels right here, some Pegasus wheels that are still here. These were the ones that I mocked up with this car at the time as well. But now knowing that, you know, we're in 2025, Gavin's busting out with his wheels, you know, most likely I'd be rocking with Gavin's. These I'll still keep just because I bought these a long time ago, and I know they're part of like the wire wheel history of models. So this is like that one set that I have from, you know, back then. And when I say back then, I don't mean like from the 90s. I'm not saying that. I just mean like back then as in, you know, maybe the last, what, like 10 years or so, or 7. Let's see. Joe Thompson, what's up, man? How you doing? All right on, dude. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for coming through. So yeah, these are just like little things, you know. I'm kind of just checking out right here that I've been kind of holding on to. And then in the baggie here, we have the front grille, the bumper, rear bumper right there, all attached together. And, you know, the same thing now from what I've learned and from what I know I'd most likely cut this out and use photo etch as well for the front part. And I'd remove anything that says like super sport or whatever. I mean, it is a super sport, right? But I just don't want to really like show that on there. And then here's the instructions here for the Revell 65 Chevy Impala Convertible. Yeah, this is a kit that was also, it's also pretty, I guess, rare. at the time when I saw these kits back then at Pegasus, I picked these up a long time ago. And see, this was in 2012 when this was printed, but they haven't reprinted these anymore, these convertible ones. I'd be very surprised if they did, because there would be a huge wave of people building these. And I mean, 65 Impala it's one of my favorite Impalas. I've always been a huge fan of the 60s styling, especially with this car. And also, it's when things started to change. You know, the 64 Impala, very classic stylistic body. And then once it went to a 65, it started going more of a like sportier look. Luis, what's up, man? Let's see. I've only had this kit once before, and I intended to make a hopper out of it. Awesome, dude. Yeah. Dang. Didn't Dennis bless you with one in Atlanta? Yeah, this is a cool kit. But yeah, these are all the instructions right here. Yeah, and this is, look at this. This is really neat right there. Oh, nice, man. All right, so let me put this back. And then these are the, let's see the chrome. Boy, I'm noticing something. What's this? Is this from the Foos kit? I think this might be from the Foos kit. These wheels look familiar. Let me see. I don't think this came with this. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know if this came with this, but we're gonna find out right now. Let me look at the wheels actually, because that part's been open. Yeah, I think those are, because these wheels are not on the box artwork at all. Yeah, I think those are from the Foos kit. So I might have had the Foos kit too, the 65, and just like toss these in here thinking like I was gonna probably use that, or maybe the valve covers or that other part right there for the engine. Let me see, because this is the original chrome right here. Let's take it out. This is what comes with the kit right here, because even the all these parts are chrome right here as well. Here, let me show the other angle. There we go. Better close up. All the chrome. Yeah, I think I need to get scissors and like recut this piece, just because it wasn't coming out right there. But yeah, this is a nice little chrome sheet of parts that you get. All right, there we go. We're almost there. All right, cool. And then the glass. We also got the glass right there. Here, I'll put this back. I don't remember putting that in there, you know, but I did. Let me put it back in this bag. Okay, so then underneath we have parts that I primered right here. Lots of parts that were primered. Even the engine was primered as well. All these parts, man. Yeah, but I remember there was this one kid who I would talk to all the time on Instagram, and he was building models too. I don't know what state he was from, but he was like the only guy that I knew at the time building lowriders. And he would post his stuff up, and then I'd post mine up. And he stepped away from model building, but it was because he got involved with the car club, and he was building his own lowrider, you know, and he was very committed to that. And it was just really hard for him to come back and build. And he was a young kid. It was like, you know, his dad did it. His dad was doing lowriders, and, you know, he was building the models as a kid and everything. And, you know, eventually he really got involved with the car scene stuff. So he would jump, you know, chime in once in a while, say what's up, and check out whatever I was working on. All right, look at this right here. So I ended up cutting this part out, and I ended up putting what is this, like a little piece, a bar piece right there. Oh, hold on, let me fix this camera thing. Keeps all right, let's see. There we go. All right, let's get one of the wheels. I'm pretty sure I did this for this reason, because of the wheel. So here, let's yep, that's why I did it. And even moves. But obviously I'd probably put a little bit of glue and then just, you know, set it down. So I did it on both sides. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is from the front end. Did the same for the front end right here too. Let me see how low that would sit. If I don't even think it would even sit that low. Yeah, no. Right there. It's still. Look at that. Yeah, because I remember. I think this. There's two sizes. I want to say of this. Let me check this out. Oh, wait. I don't think I'm putting it the right way. I was putting it backwards. There we go. Let me see. Was I trying to lay frame? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. So I don't think it was. But anyway. Yeah, this was an old project too. You know. Even now, like I'd probably want to smooth. I would probably smooth everything out. Get it nice and smooth and stuff. But anyway, going back to that kid. So he was. I showed him this model. This was like one of the last ones I showed him before we kind of lost touch. And I showed him, check it out. This is my next project and everything. And his first question was like, well, he was like, oh man, that's cool. He's like, what color are you gonna paint it? You know, that was like the first thing he started asking me. And then I was like, dude, I think I'm gonna go for like a yellow color, like just something really bright or whatever. And you know, obviously I was very limited. I'm already thinking of the, you know what, I'm gonna put these in a little bag. I'm gonna set these aside. I was thinking about the Tamiya, like rattle can. I think it was like chrome yellow, whatever they had in yellow. That's what I was thinking about. And he's like, so you're gonna do it yellow, and then are you gonna do like patterns over it, or what are you gonna do? And I'm like, nah, just a solid color. And he was like, nah, man. He's like, if you're gonna do a radical, he's like, you gotta do like a wild paint job, like something with patterns and all this stuff, you know, because it's gonna look weird, you know, just seeing a car with just one color that's all radicaled out. And I was like, and then I started researching. He made me think, you know, I started researching and I couldn't find anything that was like one color. Everything, even if it looked kind of, but it still had a secondary or a pattern or something, you know. And I was like, dang. So part of that stalled the project, but then also, you know, when I was like putting it together, I wasn't using the correct wiring like for it. And even in the hinging too, I was using like I didn't know how to do door jambs or anything, right, at the time. So I started using milliput inside, and there's still residue from it right here because I ended up breaking it off right here. Like I didn't even glue the tubing on. I was using milliput and everything, and it was just a mess, man. Like everything was just a really mess. The doors felt heavy. Every time they'd open, they'd like fall down. You know, they wouldn't just open and shut. They would open and fall down because the that wiring I was using, it was a bendable one, so it wasn't good. So I was like, man, I can't work on this project. You know, I'll just put it away. And then even the trunk. Watch, I'll show you guys the trunk. Yo, what up, Andres? How you doing, man? All right, so the trunk, I ended up cutting out the trunk, right? But look, like I said earlier, I didn't have a scriber or anything. I didn't even know how to use a string at the time. So I widened this thing so wide, dude, cutting it. Look at this big old gap. That I would need to go back and add styrene. Add styrene again along the edges and start rebuilding it all over until I start to get close. And I might have to even add styrene to these edges too to make it look more natural, you know. And it's funny because I ended up adding this piece of styrene too right there because I didn't know how to do like a reverse like a suicide hinge like this. I don't know how to do that. So, oh look, I still have the tubings in there from that. And I think I want to say I added, oh yeah, there's the glue. I added a bar right here and then wiring coming out. And then at some point I did have it like this opened, the doors open, the front clip opened and everything. And I was like, oh, cool. You know, I'm on my way. I have something going or whatever. But I just kept running into issues. And I was like, man, I don't know. I don't think this is going to be going down, you know? So I kind of just chilled from the project right there. Damn, I'm like throwing things everywhere. Let's see. And then let's see the instructions too. Let me put these back. But yeah, I never decided to like sell this kit or get rid of it. I always was like, I'll hold on to it until I'll learn these things in the future, and then I'll come revisit this kit, you know. So this is still something that will be in the works for the future there. But yeah, even with shaving stuff, you know, I was there's some areas where, see, like I only did this side right here, and I never did this side. This side it's still there. Like you can still see that side. Super Sport. And this side's gone. But I almost feel like I was a bit careless shaving this, that almost to the point where I'm like damaging the edge right here, you know? And that was something later I started to learn, like when you like get rid of little areas, things you want to delete, you got to be careful about what's out here. One tip that I got from Luis one time was he said he did this, and he's here on the chat. I don't know if he remembers this, but I remember I would see him sand stuff. Like if he was gonna sand right here and there was an edge or whatever, he'd put like tape covering that area to isolate it and not. So then he would just be like sanding, let's say like right here, and that would prevent you from going into the edge. And I was like, I saw him do that, and he was telling me about that, and I'm like, oh, what? I was like, I never knew that. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm gonna have to use your idea right there. I'm gonna have to run with it. So like right here, like if I wanted to get rid of the Super Sport, but even like down here, I don't want to damage any of this. I could just like tape up this whole area, you know? Oh shoot, where's the tape? Now I'm grabbing the scraps of tape that I was gonna throw away, but I'm just using it for the example. So then it would be like isolated, right? Here, let me zoom in more. Like right there. And then I'd probably put another piece to cover even the part of the wheel well, because you don't want to get that jacked up either, you know? Just whatever you don't want to get messed up, right? Right there. There you go, like that. And then I just sand that little area right there. And that's it. And take your time, right? That was something Luis was doing, like stuff like that. And I'm like, what? Damn, bro. No wonder your bills are all clean. You know, so yeah, so this is something else like for the future, you know. I still I like looking at the box artwork of it. The this is the California Wheels Edition 2012, the 65 Impala, you know, convertible. If you find it, grab it, get your hands on it, because as of right now they have not reproduced it. I'd be shocked if they bring this back. Let's see how close I can get it right here. Look at that right there. Trying to get used to this. See, there you go, 2012. Just keep turning it. Let's see. El Got Motions 817. I wish I kept all my builds I did in the middle school. Oh man. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of builds I wish I would have kept too, man. You know, there's like at least a couple that I kept. One of the last ones I built, you know, I would say like, I want to say probably before entering high school, and then another one from like junior high, and that's it. I still have them, but everything else is like gone. You know, must have just, I don't know, got tossed or something, or maybe it was in a box and then, you know, we moved or something and it got tossed away. You know, um, but yeah, these two kits were some that I just like pulled out that I was like, oh man, you know, let me take these out, let me look through them and stuff. All the ones you guys see right here are ones from my collection and stuff, and I'll be bringing out like more kits. You know what? Let me pull out this one. I want to look at this one real quick. This is a Merc 49. I got this one from my friend Rudy. Check it out. This box is pretty tore up, but it's kind of cool, you know. It's a timepiece right here. AMT Ertl 1949 Mercury 125th scale. Looks like you even got some generic tools in there too. Then it's all taped up. Look at that right there. That's pretty neat. Let me see if it gives a date on here of I don't think it does, but maybe the instructions will. I'm kind of just curious, like when this came out, this version, what year it was. So let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna get to the top view right now. Let's zoom out. So let's take a look at this. So this is the 49 Merc right here. Looks like it's still in the bag, dude. I think I got it. I didn't even look at it. Look at this. That's cool. It's still in the bag, still sealed. All this time, it's been traveling. I wonder if I'm the second owner, perhaps the third owner of this kit. But that's pretty neat. Still in the baggie. Uh-oh. Let's see what's up right here. These are for sure going to be the water slide decals. Oh, no. Woo. Okay, good. Something else. So, yeah, I remember this paper here was always given out in a lot of the kits. And I remember I would get this and I would just toss them. I would not even, you know, look at it or nothing. I never filled this out. I never milled it in. I never bothered to tell my parents, hey, can you guys, you know, subscribe to this or buy me this or look into, you know? Hell no, I'll just throw it away. So let's see here. It says, attention modelers, subscribe to the all-new blueprinter developed exclusively for the model car and truck builder. Information on new AMT and MPC releases, questions, answer section, shows, events, classified. Wow, see? I wasn't even reading this, bro. I would just throw it away. Like, I didn't even care. Man, let's see. So at the time in the U.S., $6 for a year, $10 for 2 years. Oh, dude, come on. The price of a model kit for 2 years, you'd be getting, I guess, like some issues of the blueprinter. But my question now is, does anybody own this, the blueprinter? Does anybody have? I'm gonna have to do a search online. I'm very curious now as to see what this really was like, as far as the booklet there. Let's see. So 49 Merc, AMT, Ertl. Man, this looks so cool, man. That sketch, whoever drew that right there. Then we get a little history right here, a little history lesson of the Merc. And specifications, capacities. And then note this kit may be built 1 to 3 ways. Awesome important stuff right here. Here, let me see here. Then we got, damn, I feel like I'm opening up a newspaper right here. So there's all this stuff. And let me look at this. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. This is all the good stuff right here. Obviously what I showed earlier. All the instructions here. Breaking it down. From the interior. Chassis, hood, radiator, assembly, all that good stuff. All right, here we go. Let's put this away. All right, cool. Then we get some chrome. So this looks like the like awards kind of thing, because I do see some trophies here, like a little stand or a little easel. That's neat. There's a trophy, a car, and then another award. Cool. Yeah, so this is neat. You could do like a little display, right? Nice. All right. And then let's see the chrome. All right, so these are supposed to be the chrome parts, but the chrome parts don't even look chrome. They look more like silver. The finish of it, I kind of like it though. It is different, the finish. Man, even the tools are painted. Or, you know, I still have from when I was in junior high, little AMT like little tool set like that, like this, and a little turntable, and I painted those with brush, with like a hand brush, and I still have them till this day. I kept that little thing. So look, the chrome is way different from this one. This is more like a silver. Looks like they just sprayed over it or something. Interesting. But it does look cool though, especially like the hubcaps, the way they're shining. It looks pretty neat. And all right, wow. Okay, so let's see here. We got the glass. That looks like it needs to be polished. It's dirty, but not to worry. You could still clean this up. All you would need is like the Meguiar's the what is it, the micro scratch, and then use one of the polishing wheels, like the soft one. I think this one would work, the red one, or the red one, not the, because the green's too coarse. And then just kind of go really lightly on it, and boom, you could bring it back to life. So I never freak out whenever I see like, you know, smudges or whatever. I'm like, I'll bring that back. Let's see here. So let's look at what tires we got here. So it looks like these are the OG ones, I'm assuming, from this kit. And then this came from something else. This is not from this kit. Are these the same? So it looks like 5. No, wait. Oh yeah, it is the same. What is this from? Here, let's take it out. For sure, these 4 are part of the set. I don't know. This might be just an extra, because it does look pretty identical. Same kind of vibe. Goodyear. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at it later. I mean, not like I'm gonna use them anyway. It's like I'm not trying to investigate. I'm not gonna use them. They're just gonna chill right there. And then these are the white walls, so maybe these are the ones it came with. You know, but I could be wrong. But anyway, we do have 2 sets of 4 and like a spare, you know. And then right here in this kit, I think this is what was special about it, or what was gonna sell people on it, I guess. Or maybe they charged more money because they gave you this. And you know, you get like some plastic tweezers that I don't even know if yeah, they kind of do the job, but they're very, very soft. And then there's this. I don't know what this is for, but it looks like this is that inserts into that. It might be for sanding, maybe a sanding block, because look, they even gave you like a, look at that, 180 grit of sandpaper in here. You can feel the roughness. I wonder if this was supposed to be like a block, you know, like with the other insert, wrap it around and you sand away. Who knows? But kind of cool, you know. Keep that as well. And then these are just like whatever other like basic generic like tools. Probably applying glue and spreading it out. I don't know what this would be for, but you know, things that back then I'd probably throw them away. I'd be like, whatever, I'm not gonna use them. But now as I'm getting older and stuff, you know, 42 years old, I'm like, yo, I'm appreciating all these things right here, man. You know, just going down memory lane of like seeing some of the stuff from back then, but then again also you know what, this one didn't have water slide decals. Maybe it didn't come with any, you know. But also just like books, magazines, like looking at old stuff, you know, I'm appreciating all the OG stuff. Like, oh man, it's such a trip with model building. It's come a long way. You know, this week I'm expecting to get a book that was printed in the 60s and another one that I'm very excited about busting it out here on the, you know, when I do one of the magazine, the live previews. I'm excited to bust that out. So that should be fun just to share with you guys right there. Yeah, there's no water slide decals at all. Cause yeah, there's, you know, it's just plain. So crazy. But yeah, this is the 49 Merc right here. I have other versions of it. This isn't the only version I have from this, but yeah, this is one that I do have and I'll keep. And you know, you could do a lot with this. I still have some Jimmy Flintstone resin bodies that I could even use this as a donor too if I needed to. If that had to come down to it, I'd bust that out right there as well. Let me see here. Let me go to the chat real quick. See, I got motion. It says, I wish I kept all my builds from middle school. I only have one. It's a 64 Impala, but it's no interior since I had two motors. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You had two motors in it to make it hop. And then, do you have any hoppers? I have one right now that I did back then. I just need to work on it to get it back. The servos, I have two little servos in the back, behind, like in the trunk, but they're right above the rear, the wheel wells. I placed them in there. They still work. The rear is functioning to go up and down, or like a side to side, like independently. It's just I don't have it wired up, you know, like soldered into like a box, a control, anything like that. It's always like just tapping it with the battery on that. And then as far as the hopping part, I don't have the string attached or anything. I do have the little motor in the back, but I still need to run the line, the string, and then get everything attached. But yeah, that's gonna be something for later. On my Instagram, I still have some old videos of those builds right there. But yeah, at the time I was also learning. I didn't even know, like, you know, too much about it. I was just kind of just going with the flow of things and just kind of learning how it was right there. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me go back. Oh, here we go. And this little box was like tripping out on my screen. Go for it painting. What's up, man? What up? And then Andres, bro, when you have a chance, send me your address. I got more cartoon. Oh, dang. Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, man. I'll let you know. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday actually, and yeah, there was no luck, bro. There was nothing there. I was like, man. And then you know, we went out to Target today with the family, getting some stuff before the week starts. And you know, I told my daughter, hey, let's go over here. Let's go for a walk. Let me check it out in this section. Let's look at some cars. And you know, she gets all excited. Yeah, let's go. Nothing either, bro. I was like, man, people are buying these things left and right. You know, they're all completely gone. But yeah, I have to. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to hang some now that I have to decorate the back. I'm gonna have to like hang some up, you know, and just put them in like different areas right there. Cause yeah, we were running errands, so I said, hey, I gotta go to Home Depot. I gotta make it official with the rack. Cause the last time I went live, I was putting all the models on this table right here. You know, I was just kind of stacking them. But now I'm like, nah, let me get a rack. Cause I do need the table. Normally I have the airbrush booth over here, but this time I just scooted it over, and I might have to airbrush from there over on that side, you know. But yeah, and then in the morning I did the model cars and coffee as well. Let me show you guys the update on the Fujimi, because the glue already dried on it for the glass. I applied it all right there all around, And yeah, that thing's already dry. You could see it clear. And you know, I gotta put the little rear view mirror in the center, get that installed. Once that's set, then you know this will be the next piece that will just slide in. I'm not gonna glue it or anything. This just pops in, which I like because if I ever want to take it out, I can do that. If I ever want to update it, but here it is. It's already been polished, and I need the glass is clean, but I feel like I need to go back in there and repolish it or like clean it a little bit more. And I might actually put a water slide decal right here, maybe one back here. You know, I'm gonna look through my decals and see what I want to put. I don't want to do it tonight though. I was just kind of busy working on fixing everything in the behind me, getting everything ready. It's just been kind of hectic, and also been like working on this, just trying to get this one done. So this one will be done pretty soon. And let's see here. I'm trying to think of what else. It's just very minimal. Like I gotta glue the bumpers and everything in the front back. And this car should be done. You know. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, this was a fun one. This was like a really fun one. You know, I was just trying to go like a box stock, I guess. Like whatever's in the box, like use that. But then, you know, I'm not using any aftermarket. But then, you know, when you use Hasegawa mirror finish, it almost feels like I'm using an aftermarket product. But it's the same if I was using like bare metal foil, right? So I don't know if that counts for some people. If they're like, well, you're using that, it's not a box stock or whatever. I don't really know. But yeah, that one should be coming to a close. And then, yeah, I also wanted to shout out to my homie Javi, man. He hooked me up with this dope keyboard. Finally got a dope proper keyboard, because I had this one and it was kind of, I don't know, it was whack keyboard. But this one just feels a lot better. It's a lot better now. So all I need to do now is just get a better mouse, and I think I'm set. So I'll be getting it's just little like upgrades. I've been doing little by little here to the studio garage or whatever, you know, the space. So I already got the 2 cams, and then I got another one for when I do like the interviews and stuff. And I'm thinking of getting another camera, so then that would be like a 4th camera, just because I want them all to match as far as like, you know, the view and everything, and from a different angle. So I have obviously the top view. I got the one over here on this side, but I'm thinking about possibly getting another one, and I don't know if it's gonna be right here or maybe on this side, like kind of behind me, or maybe even down on the table. Oh, look at that when I tap it. Ooh, vibrates. Like solo. So because like, let's just say for example that right in front of me right here, right? Let me zoom in. I have I'm mixing paint, House of Color, and you know, I'm trying to do the mix, and I'm trying to show, you know, this is how I mix it. It'd be dope if I have, let's say, the camera right here like down to the floor almost, right? Where I could zoom in and you could see the bottle. So when I'm talking about it, you could see it, like, you know, how many parts I put in there basically, right? And kind of go from there. So been thinking about getting the other camera, but yeah, once you get a camera, it's almost like a rabbit hole, because then you have to buy a stand for it, then you have to buy this for it, and so forth. And so I got to get ready for that. So right now I'm rocking the like 2 lights, and then I have a bar light at the top. You see, every time I do these hand gestures, the camera, like the AI in it, like turns on. You know, let me see. Oh, there we go. You see? Damn, am I throwing gang signs? But yeah, man, it's I gotta be careful with that, with the whole like, because then it starts to zoom in, and I'm not trying to make it zoom in, you know. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. But hey guys, I'm gonna take off. It's 11. I gotta go. I gotta just chill. I mean, I'm not gonna go to sleep right now, but I gotta like get off, because I still gotta look up some stuff before I go to sleep. And I'm hoping tomorrow, I'll keep you guys posted if I get the magazine or that booklet tomorrow. that I've been telling you guys about, that it's like from the 60s. If I get that in, I'm gonna do the magazine preview on that for sure. If in case if it doesn't come in, then I'm gonna do a magazine preview on something else, you know. But we'll go from there. But I'm gonna head out though. Thank you guys. Models by Ronnie, Joe Thompson, 61, LXC scale model cars. I got Motion 817, Lane Low Hobbies, 1014. Thank you guys, and also go for it painting as well, man. Later, peace out. You guys have a good one. Take care, and hopefully tomorrow we'll link up on here, and you know, geek out on some hobby stuff for sure. But I'll let you guys go. All right, guys. Later on.